Welcome to the Balanced Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Matt Southam. Here, we delve into candid conversations with entrepreneurs, exploring both their business journey and their secrets to maintaining mental well-being. As we navigate the balance of ambition and inner peace, I hope you find insights, inspiration, and invaluable takeaways in every episode. Thank you for joining us. Cale, welcome to the show. I think before we kick off, actually, there's a few, I suppose, similarities or some things we've got in common. Now, for anyone who knows us or if it is watching in YouTube, clearly we've decided to have the same haircut. This is a choice that we've made. Obviously we wanted long flowing locks, but we easily could. We could look like Harry Styles if we wanted to. But obviously this is a choice that we've both made. We're not going bald. But probably the other one that maybe not everyone is aware is actually both of us have quite a love for dad jokes. And you're a bit of a king of dad jokes. So I want to start off by just saying, what is your favourite dad joke at the moment?
I've probably got two at the minute. It put me under pressure though. You didn't plan me for that one. And the thing is, Matt, the good thing about dad jokes is that I don't really tell dad jokes. I just sort of talk about things that are going on in my life. Christmas is looming, isn't it? And I've bought my daughter a refrigerator. I can't wait to see her face light up when she opens it. There's that one. And then I was watching the news this morning, and I see Greggs are starting to do drone deliveries. Air drone deliveries. It's a bit of a pie in the sky idea, but hey, it might work. I can't believe you stitched me up like that. You didn't even plan it.
I know. I wanted the real authentic. What are your favourite dad jokes?
My daughter hates the fridge one.
I know. You know what? Dad jokes are underrated. They are clever plays on word. I know they get a groan, but actually the simple jokes are.
I think I think probably the dad jokes are bordering on office banter, aren't they? They're that salesman kind of don't take things too seriously, willing to laugh at yourself and the world around you. My background is sales and large offices and things like that, so it tends to be where it comes from. I think I probably see innuendo in absolutely everything. So, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, sometimes I have to hold myself back. But okay, talk me through that then. So you said you started off in sales. What is the journey? What would be the starting point in your journey to where you are now with Kangaroo Connections? So
it'd be my mouth, wouldn't it?
Mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. From a young age, it was. Your mouth's going to get you in trouble one day, Cale. That was my dad. And then from from 16, I found myself in a pub, bottling up behind a bar in the mornings and things like that. And generally that then progressed to, the weekend work. And, if you've done bar work or anyone's done bar work, if you don't talk to the customers, you're going to come unstuck. So it gives you that confidence of talking to people, and at 18, I did a bit of traveling, went to Australia, and it didn't go too well. I got very homesick, bearing that 18, it was the first time I'd left home. Came back and got a job with BT, where they had an operator centre in Hastings. So I was on the phone all day, every day, and the confidence of talking to people at the operator centre in Hastings, we dealt with 999 calls as well. So dealing with different situations, being able to just react on the fly really to what was going on. And I think that's the start of sales really. I got headhunted from BT then by a publishing company in Tunbridge Wells that threw I think it was 17,500 at me, and compared to what I was being paid at BT, I was like, wow, I've made it. I did 2 years in Tunbridge Wells. Didn't realise that most of that money would be spent on beer after work, and because it's a different lifestyle, and unfortunately, the amount of Friday nights that I fell asleep on the train. Thankfully, Hastings is the last stop, so I was all right. But that was the start. It was the mouth, it was the confidence, it was the likable, the jokes, the banter. I've taken that. I've first sort of part of my business career was selling advertising, and then the second part before I did my own business was managing a customer service department, which I loved. Had a great team around me working for a good company, and that was great. I've done recruitment and bits and pieces, but always salesy, really.
Always sales.
Yeah.
You touched on being on the phone and talking to people. Now, there is actually a massive fear around there of being on the phone, certainly with the younger generations and making phone calls and all sorts. I heard saying a little while ago that when people pull up outside, say, a block of flats, rather than push the buzzer and actually have to talk to their friend, they will text and just say, I'm outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now-
We've got texting in the same household and things like that happening now and stuff because
Yeah.
of the fear that our children are getting about communicating. I think it's very sad.
Yeah.
Understand why it's happening, but I think we've got a responsibility to try and stop that. Really, my boy's discovered Snapchat recently. Oh my god, the amount of funny faces I'm getting. He's only 12, and yeah. Dad, you didn't reply to that one. No, well, that was only a couple of seconds ago that you sent it. Give me a chance.
Yeah. I'm literally sat next to you.
Yeah, it's when he says that's a good filter, Dad, and I say no, that's my face, son. But thanks very much.
Yeah. I was going to say Halloween come early, but
gotta love him. Yeah, gotta love him.
Yeah, there's definitely that fear of the phone and the fear of speaking to people, but actually it can save a lot of time. The online, the digital world can save time in certain elements. But I went to a face-to-face meeting this morning, and that was so much quicker actually having that than 25 emails back and forth.
Yeah, it started creeping in, when in my customer service role. So I was managing a team, and email conversations was definitely creeping in then. And we were dealing with products that needed measurements and accuracies and things like that. I was like, just get on the phone, find out what the answer is. Well, I'll send an email, and then they try to try hiding behind the email. Well, if it's in writing, I've got it officially. Then, haven't I? Yeah, I think it slows the process down. I know we've talked before about instant messaging and how even an email now has become an instant message. So I've got an inbox full of one-line emails. Definitely we don't talk now. Or a lot less. But hey, look, we've talked about that about networking, haven't we? The world is turning again. We are getting used to having conversations again. And even us, we're expert networkers. Or so we attend the opening of an envelope, we would. We've had to get used to it again, haven't we, after COVID?
Oh, it's massive. The idea of hiding behind the screen and things like that, even with networking. We've all done it.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to fall into that trap and very easy to be comfortable in that. But actually, there's a lot to be said for getting up, getting out, and actually seeing real people. And I think actually that's a massive one for lots of people. I work from home. I'm at home, and but I'm really key that I don't get to Thursday afternoon or Friday morning and go, oh, I haven't left the house.
Yeah.
Which it is easy to do.
Yeah, it was very easy to do. And when you think back through lockdown, as a small business owner, we were working towards the weekends all the time. We were not leaving our homes. I bought a stand-up desk. Funny, I was only looking at it earlier on today, thinking, actually, that's a bit of a wasted investment now because I don't stand up very often because I don't have very many Zoom networking events and things anymore, because that's what I bought it for. Because I was presenting networking events, it made it so much easier to be standing up and so on.
Yeah.
But like you, I work from home, hence the dodgy background, because there's no way you're going to see the mess.
Yeah, there is that thing of, certainly in lockdown, I got to that stage where I was like, well, weekends are basically just a long lunch break. It was all the same. So getting out and about is a key one. So talk me through the last sort of, just under 10 years, I would say, but the 10 years where you've been sort of working for yourself, or 8 years or whatever it's been, working for yourself.
6.5 actually. Yeah, 6.5. And it's it's funny. I look back, and I was before that I was employed, I was secure, had a monthly salary, and I got I parted ways with where I was working and so on, and did a bit of recruitment for a year, and that sort of fizzled out. And it was kind of, what now? What am I going to do now? And I remember looking back and looking at some of these salaries for customer service jobs and things, thinking I wouldn't work for that. That's ridiculous. But the first 1 or 2 years of being self-employed, I actually wish I'd taken those 25 grand jobs because I'd have been better off. But
Yeah.
yeah, so things started really well. I created, with the help of a friend, created a brand, being Social B back then, and I'm sure you remember those days. And
I do,
I
yeah.
loved it, and I had something of my own. It was very exciting, and business took off lovely. Got involved with a local networking group, and made a lot of good friends, a lot of business associates, and everything was fantastic. And going along, what I'd say, quite nicely, comfortably, but
Yeah.
very much just me, and no desires for it to be anything else, I'd say. And then COVID hit, and then it was very much a case of all online. No, actually, just before COVID, I bought a second business. I bought into a franchise. I
Okay. Yeah.
had some money kicking around and decided I wanted to spend it, which probably turned out to be one of the worst decisions I've ever made. And there's been a few, to be fair.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was a good idea. But I had this franchise that was selling advertising to customers on a monthly basis. And when COVID hit and we got locked down, this monthly retainer that I had from the clients, they were saying, look, we're not open, we're not trading, we're going to have to stop. And one thing led to another, and I had to close that business and Social B, unfortunately, because Social B ended up funding it. Anyway, long story short. And then I got poorly, not afraid to admit it. My head won. Probably got a bit like we were just saying, really. The weeks were turning into weekends. We were living for them. And, I know that I'm speaking of a lot of people in mind. Beers at the weekends. The first year of lockdown was lovely weather, and it took over. It was living too much, not working enough, really, and floundering around, wondering what to do with myself. So then, going back a year now, or actually, 14, 15 months ago. My life took another sort of huge turn, and probably that was when I realised that I was really poorly, and some things needed to change. So they did. They made a couple of huge, big changes in my life, and floundered around for 6 months, getting better. Run away to South Wales, saw my sister, and then so November time was the rebrand in Kangaroo Connections, and I have to say, probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I actually got some help with the branding, did it properly, had my ideas. They all went down on a board. I'd never seen that happen before. And the best thing for me is the idea came from friends, and then I told my boy all about it. He's only 12, but oh, Dad, I love it. And that was it. I got his buy-in, and he loves it now. I got a mug home this week with Kangaroo Connections along the side of the mug, and he said, "Can I have it? Can I have it? It looks brilliant." And
you've made it when you've got a branded mug.
Well, it used to be T-shirts, now it's a mug. No, but I think it gave me something to love again and to be proud of. And then where are we? 9-10 months that we've had since the rebrand. The business is better than it's ever been. It's certainly in a stronger position as a business than it's ever been. It's not a one-man band anymore, and the future is really quite exciting. So, it's been a weird 5-6 years, to be honest, but amazing. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't mind a salary, but I wouldn't change it.
You wouldn't change it. Okay, so would you go back? You wouldn't go back to any point during that last 5-6 years and make a different decision?
I wouldn't have bought the franchise.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have bought that. I thought it was a good idea and it made sense, and the money, it was all right. At that time, I honestly felt it added onto my social media business really nicely. The support from the franchise was great. It was with a guy called Nigel Botchell, who I really liked. He has Entrepreneur Circle, and I loved it. I bought into it big time, but it was just COVID, and it was just the way that it just started sapping money. Just ridiculous. That would probably be the one thing I'd change. If I
Yeah.
was given advice to anyone, I'd have figured out my numbers a little bit earlier. You know,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
now, for example, I use Zoho as my operating software,
Yeah.
and my first job of the day, Zoho books, and
Just
that's just to match things up, where things have gone, what have I spent this and ever. But I know now, my very first
yeah.
business coach was financial intelligence, financial intelligence. And I just kind of went, yeah, all right, see you in a month's time. But
Yeah.
I get it now, and it's very much a case of I know what's happening in the business. I know what I can spend if I want to, but I
Yeah.
also know that things are going well. I'm a feelings based person. So you could say to me, "How's business, Cale?" And if I'm in a good place, business is great, lovely, couldn't be better. But I remember saying to my girlfriend, "Oh, it's been a rubbish January. Oh, it's shocking." This was a few years back, and she said, "Oh, hold on, I've just looked at the figures, and it's been your best January since you've launched." And that just shows you that I didn't have the intelligence to back up my feelings. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now,
Where's the proof?
yeah, absolutely.
That's a massive thing I'm on. When I get a little doubt, I have to, okay, where's the proof?
But interestingly, the feelings now come from the proof, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I look and there's money in the bank, and I've interviewed today for a second content creator, which is massively exciting and massively out of my comfort, but I know I can,
Yeah.
rather than I'm busy, I need some help, because that would have been my feelings, and that's when
Yeah.
it wouldn't have that would have backfired. So
Yeah.
now, for financial intelligence, get that early. I do some workshops, and I say to people, get that bit before your social media, before your marketing, before your CRM system. Get an bit of accounting software, and I've used a few,
Yeah.
but I'm really happy with what I've got now.
Yeah, definitely. I think that knowing your numbers,
Yeah.
the financial intelligence, as well as, being able to provide proof, like you say, can I do this? Right. Yeah, we've got that money, things like that. It also does help you spot those gaps, the cash flow issues,
Mhm.
possibly a little bit earlier, because there's nothing worse than suddenly going, oh, I'm really tight this month. And it's 2 days away from wages day if you've got staff or whatever it is. The earlier you know stuff, you can deal with it and put plans in place.
Well, and I think, to remember to not be so hard on myself. I remember I never set out to own my own business. If you'd have gone back 7 years and said, "Carol, you'll own your own business," I mean, that's only 6 months longer than when I did. No, I wouldn't. Why would I do that? I enjoy being employed. I enjoy managing people. I enjoy
Yeah,
being part of a director team and things like that. Why would I want to go and do it myself? Um,
yeah,
but I think I wouldn't change anything, because actually, even the franchise, it made me learn some lessons about money.
yeah. I
You know,
I think actually it's just there's no mistakes. There's just learnings.
yeah.
And we have to fail. I suppose it's people call it, but not necessarily a fail as in a massive you've gone under, but just things have to go wrong for you to understand. Okay, that didn't work out, and actually just understand. Okay, that was one way. It doesn't work, and it's the only way you learn the ways that do work.
Well, and I think those kind of things in particular, being a bit more what's the word? Thinking about the decisions before. Yeah, yes, go on, take my money, off you go. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm a magpie. Literally.
I am with software. Something new comes along.
Yeah,
Last week you'd have seen it on LinkedIn. Guys, is it Trello? Is it Monday? Is it Asana?
yeah,
By the end of the day, I'd signed up to all three, and that's just ridiculous. But that's the way that my head works. It's a very visual thing. I need to see it. Does it work? But sometimes taking a step back, rethinking about what you're going to do. If I'd have thought about this franchise a little bit better, maybe I wouldn't have got into it. But at the time, I was that solo entrepreneur of ego and name above the door, and I
I
think, I think those things
literally
are
been
kind of
been there.
gone now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm proud of my business. I love being a business owner. I love helping my
yeah,
clients, and I love being part of the business community. I do. I love it, absolutely love it. But the importance of, or the, I don't know, maybe arrogance is the word, of having my own business. Um, I think has gone
Yeah.
now. And I'm glad it's gone, because I think it makes me a better business owner.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been there as well. You know, I mean, at the moment we're now a completely remote team, and actually getting rid of the office. You know, yes, it saved money, so you'd think this is really positive. Actually, it really sort of like it was a bit icky. There was a
Yep.
funny feeling about it because I had this big town centre office with 2 rooms. There was 8 desks. You know, and that's what a business owner has.
Mm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
in your mind, you know, everyone's thinking, "Oh, I must have it going on," and I wanted to keep up that perception. Actually, we win more work
Yeah.
now than we had. And I've been out and I've visited someone else's premises and spoken to them there. Actually, for what I do, I don't need that big office. And there's so many hot desking and shared
Yep.
spaces and meeting rooms you can book. But in my head, it was, well, if I've got a business, I need to have this town centre office.
Yeah,
And it's a
because I think
perception.
we feel that clients want to see us being successful and things like that. Where,
Yeah.
as I've got older and realised, actually they want to see who you're dealing with. They want to meet you. They want to shake
Yeah.
your hand. They want to
Yeah.
read your body language and things. And they don't want to know that you know you've got a flashy office that you can't afford, and you've got a flashy
Yeah.
car that you can't afford, and you're going home on a Friday night depressed. Um,
Yeah.
that's the bits that they won't see, but are the reality. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
Look, COVID and lockdown, it's brought us lots of good things, even if it's the
Oh,
realization of what we don't need.
yes, I was gonna say, you know, COVID, while there were many parts of it I hated and all
Hmm.
the lockdowns, actually, one thing it did bring forward actually was, I suppose, in a way, better human connections between some of my clients from the fact of, you know, I used to work with clients in professional services, and you know, they used to every meeting. I'd always really make an effort with what I was wearing because they were fully suited, the best tie, the shoes were shined. And actually, then suddenly, yes, okay, they were still smartly dressed, but actually they'd lost the jacket, they'd lost the tie, and we were meeting online. And now, when I go and see them at their office, again, just an open shirt like I'm wearing today is absolutely fine. And it just
The pre
changed that
the
bit.
is pretense the right word? It's kind of, we don't need it.
Yeah.
I'm dealing
No.
with you, Matt. I don't need you to put on a shirt and tie to make a different you. Actually, I just want to
No.
meet you. Okay, I'd like it if you were clothed. That's a start. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think the days of that have kind of gone. And then look, I might be wrong. Maybe they are still going on in the city and things like that. But if they are still going on, even that has made me realise that's not a part of the world I want. That's not part of business I want to be into. In
No.
fact,
No.
I actually quite like the local community, the local business environment, things like that. You know, as you know, I host curry clubs and things like that. Well, they're informal. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
put on a brand new suit to go and meet you for a curry. Well, one,
No.
that's suicide because I'm going to ruin it, and two, you don't need me to. You don't
No.
need me to, because
No.
you're coming to network, or not even network. You're coming to socialize. You're coming to enjoy yourself. If something's, it's just fake.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you know, everything needs to be appropriate. You
Yeah,
know, yeah, if it's a business environment, obviously I will dress appropriately. My language will be appropriate, all of that. But equally, I'm still Matt.
yeah,
You know, and actually, I want you to know that the Matt you meet at networking, the Matt you meet in a meeting, is the same Matt you'd see if you bumped into me shopping with the kids on a Saturday afternoon. You know,
yeah.
it's me. It's just a person. And actually, I think loving ourselves enough that we can actually just be ourselves throughout the working week and at the weekends is really important. Because if you have to try and put on a perception
Yeah,
for 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday, actually that's exhausting.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And I touched on the fact that I've been poorly, and I see a counsellor well, we've gone to every 2 weeks now, which is something to celebrate because it's not costing
Yeah.
me as much. But actually, all we do, we talk, and we talk about how things are going well, and we talk about little successes. And there's been times in the last 2 or 3 months where I've had people say to me, "My God, Cal, you're glowing. You're back. It's good to
Yeah.
see you." And from I'm not alone. There was lots of us through lockdown that really went into our shells. And I remember going to an event and someone said to me, "Where have you been? Haven't seen you for ages." Where,
Yeah.
me, that's not me at all. But
No.
actually it happened, and I didn't know it was happening. And for now to be on the flip and to say, people saying, "Oh God, look at you, Cal's performing again," or, You want to? In fact, someone said to me on Friday, "Do you want to do a workshop for about 50 people?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I do!"
Yeah, sign
And
me up.
yeah, and I think there would have been a time over the last few years that I'd have shied away from that, and I said no, thank you, and or
Yeah,
I'd have made some kind of, "Oh, I'm busy that day," or "I've got, can't afford it," or "You can't afford it," or whatever.
yeah,
Where it's nice to know that I think the birth of the business, the me seeking help, talking about my problems. Ironically,
yeah,
when I signed up with my counsellor, it was because things were starting to get better, and I wanted to talk about the stuff that had gone wrong.
yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm even counselling now because of dealing with any issues, because actually I've got plenty of issues. I'm sure people would tell you that, but
Oh,
but now
everyone's got issues.
now it's dealing with 2 secs.
That's all right. You just go and
now
cough
now I'm
away.
now it's kind of why did those things happen? Why did I let myself hide in my office? Why
Yeah,
did I, you know, yeah, more why rather than what's happening and how can I change it. It's about celebrating what's going on now, and people turning around and saying how well. I bet people have said to you, "Christ, since you've lost or given up the office and things, I bet you've got a different persona about you now. I bet you walk around
oh,
differently.
I
I
do.
just
You
bet
know
you
what?
do."
Yeah, yeah. A couple of people have sort of said that to me, and apparently you see it in people's eyes, and you
Yeah.
see it in their shoulders,
Yep.
and yeah, I'm just genuinely happier
Yep.
when I'm out and about, and yeah, it did get to a stage where even networking or anything, it became I'll say a chore. I knew I needed, but I was like, "Oh, I'd rather just sit at home, and but you do have to get out of that, and I've been in a similar situation where actually the time I started talking about issues was when I was starting to get a little bit better, because at one point I was like, I don't want to talk to anyone. And
Yeah.
partly I think, we're of a similar age as well, that
I'm a bit
actually
younger.
there is, you're a bit younger. Go on. Okay. Transparency. How old are you, Cal?
Oh crap. 46.
Oh, I'm the younger one.
Oh dear. Thanks
43,
for that.
but you know, and again, I think we get caught up in the perception of the business owner, and you've got it all going on, and actually show no weakness.
Yes.
And actually, that's not real life. I think a little bit of vulnerability is actually a superpower. It's
Oh,
showing that you're real.
I stood up in a networking event probably 7, 8 months ago, and I said, "Right, guys, I need your help. I need a couple of new clients because things have been a bit tough." And
Yeah,
I walked away that day with 3 new clients.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, I would not have got those clients without that honesty.
No, no.
And
Honesty is a superpower.
yeah, and
Transparency and
people
vulnerability.
100%, and I think for me, since early on, I've not set myself out to compete with the big agencies. You know, I am me. This is my business. You'll work with me. Even as I get bigger, everyone comes through me, and that has been a good sales point for me. But I tell you what, um, that period when I wasn't very well, that's when the business struggled
Yeah,
big time
yeah,
because I just
yeah.
wasn't. I wasn't on it.
No, the biggest asset of any business is the people. And if when you're running a small business, then and you're the main person, actually the biggest asset is you,
Yep.
not the productivity tools, not the all the other bits of apps and the software and the office you've got and all things like that. I've tried most productivity tools around, and I tell you what, the thing that makes me most productive is actually just being good in myself and being good in my head.
Yeah.
That's how I'm productive. I've had it where, I felt so swamped and so overwhelmed and just not knowing what I'm doing. So I've got another productivity tool to fill in the details. I tell you
Yeah.
what, it makes no difference. Actually, just having a clear vision on what I need to do, living in the moment. I
Yep.
think being present and living in the moment, because otherwise I used to worry about all the mistakes that have happened, worry about this job on I've got next week, and then you get nothing done today.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's really funny. I've always struggled with to-do lists.
yeah,
I'll have my pad, and I'll have this, and I'll have an app, and I'll have this, and so on. And I met with a lady last week, and it was when we were talking about Trello and Asana and God knows what. And she said to me, "When you open your computer, what's the first thing you open?" I said, "It's always my emails." And I said, "I've got a Gmail to-do list, but I want to use Trello." She said, "Why? Use your Gmail to-do list."
yeah,
I've got an app on my phone for it, which I'm now getting used to. And it sounds really silly because Gmail's just so basic, it's ridiculous. But it's there, and it's the first thing I open, and it's the thing that I stare at most of the day. So that's
Yeah.
where my to-do list needs to be, not somewhere else, not somewhere
Yeah.
flashy.
You don't need to
No.
overcomplicate it. I mean, I've done it, and actually when we went into the COVID lockdown, first time I reviewed all of the subscriptions, both myself that I had and the team,
Yeah.
and I was sending messages around on Slack or Teams saying like, is anyone using this? And they were like, oh no, we haven't used that for a year. But
7.99 gone.
yeah,
Yeah.
literally, there were all these subscriptions. I saved
Yep.
about 110. It was just over £100,
Yep.
£100 a month. That's over £1,000 a year, £1,200 a year,
Yeah.
just by going through them. But we had all these little tools that no one was using, but
Well, because we all think
like
that
the idea.
they're going to improve things, aren't they? But actually, the only thing
Yeah,
that will improve anything in our business is us being fit, healthy, and well. And that will come down to our
yeah.
diets, that will come down to exercise, that will come down to sleep. Nothing, actually, ironically, nothing to do with the business.
No, I completely agree with you. We have got to be right. We're the biggest asset. You're looking at financial metrics. Actually, we're the metric that's number one. And then we can start to look after and look at everything else. Otherwise, there's almost no point.
Yeah.
A business is a means to an end. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my business. I love working with clients. I love all of that. But it does just enable me to earn income that I can spend doing other things that I also love and spending time with my family and
Yep.
things like that. It's not just about work, and taking breaks and all of that has to come into it. I now want to design my business around the life that I want, rather than having this business that just swallows up my life.
Yeah, I think I'm still struggling with that. I won't lie. I work too much. I think working from home, I'm still. It's a fine line, isn't it? Because I love my job and I love my business,
Yeah.
so I don't
Yeah.
mind working on it.
Same.
But so this morning is a good example in that I got up and I went out for a walk and I didn't sit at my desk until 8:30, which actually is a massive shift for me because even if I didn't have a networking event, I still would have been sat at my desk at 6:30 because that's
Yeah.
just the way that I did things. Where actually, I by not sitting down till 8:30 today, I probably will work this evening. But do you know what? It's because I want to, and I don't want to watch the rubbish that's on TV.
Yeah.
But it's a fine line because that if I'd sat down at 6:30 this morning, I could have done emails and things for 2 hours. But I had a lovely walk. I felt refreshed, and business hasn't changed because I didn't sit down at 6:30 this morning.
No, that's the thing. Actually, it's still there.
Yeah.
Nothing has
Well,
changed.
no,
But
no,
actually, you're probably in a better mindset.
absolutely, and that's what we were just saying just now. Is that actually what has changed is that I'm better for my business today.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
do you think morning? So, we talk about morning routines, because I mean, I do like a morning routine, but equally, you see stuff on Instagram. You don't need to be up at 4 a.m. having an ice bath, run 10K, journal for an hour, do yoga,
Man?
meditate for 20 minutes, and see the kids for 8 seconds, and then be at your desk at 8:30. You don't need to do all of that, but setting yourself up at the start of the day does help.
I think it just comes down to all of those things, right, that you just said. Which ones of those do you actually want to do?
Yes.
We when things were tough and I wasn't well, I would look at depressing things on social media, and then my social media feeds would be depressing. I ran. I used to. I ran. I used to run a lot. I've done a couple of marathons, which I'm really proud of, and I was probably 3 stone lighter, and I loved running. It was all that
Yeah.
was in my life. And then when I went on social media, it was motivational quotes, it was friends getting medals, it was people celebrating their
Yeah.
successes, and it was a happy place to be. Social media, when you get into a dark place, becomes a darker place. It becomes a
Yeah.
darker and darker place, and you start if you think you've got symptoms of something, you're seeing these symptoms, and then suddenly you've got them, and it's just horrendous.
Yeah.
So then when you
Yeah.
talk about a morning routine, if you say, right, I want to do more, I want to do journaling, or no, Think of it that
Yep.
way. The world is telling me I need to do journaling. So you'll search journaling, and the minute you're on TikTok and you've stopped on journaling, that's it. Your next 20 posts are going to be about journaling.
Yeah.
And that's all you'll see, and it'll be repetitive. But actually, deep down, do you want to journal? Now, I, for
Yeah.
one, hate my handwriting. So I don't want to journal. But people
No.
throughout my life have been telling me I should, but I don't want to do
Yeah.
it. Now, do I like walking? Yes, I absolutely love it. Am I trying to run a little bit more? Yes, I am, because I absolutely love it. So I've signed up to Strava again. I've signed up to the Hastings Half Marathon in March, which just is bonkers, really. But hey, it used to be a walk in the park for me. And
Yeah.
if that means now on social media, and that's, to be honest, that's where the dad jokes come from, because they're the things I follow now on social. They're the things I want to
Yeah.
see, because
Put a smile on your face.
I think if we, and I think the public, listen to me preaching, Jesus. I think the public don't realise what social media is doing to them sometimes. And it's just put in and if it's negative thoughts, it's negative. If it's positive, it's positive. But I still
Yeah.
think we can get led down routes that the ice bath. I don't want to get in an ice bath.
Yes.
That's
See, whereas I love
ridiculous.
mine. And so I go in mine. I went in it this morning and I love it.
But if you
But that
love
doesn't
it,
mean it works for everyone.
no, and I think the danger is that through social media, if I'm seeing people in ice baths, oh, I've got to do that. Why have I got to
Yeah,
do
you
that?
compare
I'm
yourself.
going to
Yeah.
hate it. I'm going
Yeah.
to hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think anybody's morning routine has to be what they like doing or what they want to
Yeah.
do. So if you like going for a walk, don't get me wrong, there are days when the walk isn't easy or it's raining or I could sit on my desk because I prefer that or whatever. But I love going out for that morning walk. So
Yeah.
that's the bit that I could make that a routine because I enjoy it. The things that won't
Yeah.
be routines are if you don't like something, and you're just never going to make a routine out of it. You just never are.
No, I completely agree with that. Habits stick when actually we enjoy doing them because you have to remove all sorts of friction to doing a task repetitively. And one of the frictions would be if you don't enjoy doing it. It's like
Well, and that's
you're
and
not going
that's
to
why
do it.
I'm struggling to get back into running.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I said anything, I'm consumed. I want to run again. I do. I so badly want to run again. But it hurts like bugger when I go out, mate. And I can't walk up the stairs for the rest of the day. And
Yeah.
and it used to be the only difficulty was going faster or going further. Now it's
Yeah.
just getting out the door because it hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I've
but
always liked the idea of running, but I just my knee just doesn't take it. But
uh,
I do other exercise I do enjoy as well.
yeah,
But funny enough, I think I wanted the idea of being able to say to people, I've been out on a run, been out on my run on my Sunday morning. Actually, do I want to go running? No, not really.
I I think back in the day that I did. I loved it, but there
Yeah,
was an ego thing there as well. Being faster and quicker and stronger, and then not just the next man, but than myself. But now I
yeah,
just like to do it for the positivity in my life, knowing that
yeah.
being surrounded by the running community is not a bad thing. And okay, running's not
No,
for everyone, but what I mean is being surrounded by a community of people that are good for you. What's the whole saying about you're
it's
the you're
you're the sum of the five people you spend the most time
that's
with,
the thing,
and
and that
that is that social media is basically your online version of that. So what you're
100%.
following, what you're reading, you get more of. You become
Absolutely.
what you're following.
Oh, well, listen, if more people clicked the unfollow button, they'd be better off.
Yeah,
Just on their personal stuff. I'm not talking about business social media or whatever, but we've all got those friends that like to moan or they do this. Or, we've all got that friend that likes to check in when they're at the hospital. And you just think,
yeah,
okay, how are you? Let me private message you. But,
yeah.
you know, it, I think unfollowing that negativity out of your life will just change everything. Social media
Yeah,
is a beast. It's just a
oh,
beast.
it's yeah.
I could chat for hours about that.
Oh, we could. And I think there will be some, challenges. And I think for everyone, you come to that thing of you compare yourself.
Mhm.
And let's be honest, social media is a little snapshot into the most amazing things. You go on Instagram, and basically everyone's on holiday or has got a perfect body in the gym. You go on Facebook, everyone's getting married. These are what you see, and I know it is nice, and I love seeing other people happy. But equally, it's very easy to compare yourself to that. And I've seen it where we've been out on a family walk and I've posted a photo of me with the kids. We're out in the countryside, everyone's smiling, it's happy. Yeah, that was one photo. My God, we had arguments for about 20 minutes before going out. We had arguments from the kids moaning about something, the wellies they were wearing, or I don't want to go this way, or can we go home? I want to go back to Netflix. And you end up bribing them of, okay, you can have Netflix and something else if we can take a photo. But everyone else is like, oh, look, see that? They've gone out for a nice family walk.
Mm-hmm.
God,
I've lived for a while now with the philosophy of everything goes on social media for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm talking personal social media now, not business.
Yep.
Me, selfie in the park this morning. What's my reason for that? Do you know what? I want people to see that I'm quite happy.
Yeah.
I've been in a dark place and they didn't see me. And now, am I showing off? Absolutely, I am. But do you know what? I'll tick that box of that was my reason for putting that on social media. Now, if you can say that when you post something as a person on social media and you have a reason for it, and think about what that reason is. Now, unfortunately, I think there's too many people that put things out there to hurt people.
Yep.
There's snidey, backhanded, oh, if you're reading this, it's meant for you type thing. There's just too much of it. And what are your reasons for posting on social? If it's because you want to be happy, show your happiness, whatever, that's fine. But if it's to compete with someone, don't do it. I'm not competing. My selfie this morning was not competing with anyone. It was literally showing me off in the sunshine. And you know what? The reactions I've got from that are people that are happy for me. So it does the job.
People should be happy for other people. There's a massive thing. One of my favorite sayings is, blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make yours shine any brighter. Yeah. And social media seems to love to drag people down. Whether it's trolls or just making, like, say, sly comments, or this status might be about you. Like, I haven't got the energy to worry about other people. I'm concentrating my energy on myself.
Yep. Yeah. It's a machine. It's a danger to society at the minute. Danger for our kids. Difficult place for our kids.
Yeah. Okay, let's start to finish off. I might throw another question at you. I know I stuck you right at the start with the dad jokes. So, you know what? What's an unpopular opinion that you have about the industry or business that you think's there? An unpopular opinion that you've got. I'll tell you mine. That is that whole. Actually, it's probably not so much an unpopular opinion now, but I can still wear a pair of shorts and do really good business.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think you got to dress up. No, I tell you what, I can do some awesome work sat in my shorts.
Yeah. I don't know about the industry so much because I think one thing I will say is I do tend to keep this will surprise people, but I do tend to keep myself to myself as far as the industry is concerned. Strangely enough, when I launched the business, I unfollowed all of you guys. I used to like all your pages, but then I unfollowed them all because actually I didn't need to see what you were up to. I didn't need to see what your prices were. I didn't need to see which events you were going to. I thought I did at the beginning, but actually me, again, probably unfollowing that negativity, not that it was negative, but you know what I mean, is that unfollowing all my competitors actually gave me quite a bit of freedom to just be me and to do what I want. I think if there was
concentrate on yourself.
Yeah, and I think probably the thing that would surprise some, but maybe not others close to me, is that I'm not a huge fan of social media. I loved it, but I think it's great for business. I think the algorithms are really killing us at the moment as small business owners. Not in the social media world, but just a small business owner, a painter and decorator with 1,000 followers, and they're putting a post down that's getting seen by 30, 40 people. I mean, it's such a shame because I think we've spent so long going, oh, these platforms are free. They're not. They've just been building us up, ready to bill us. That's where they're coming out now. They've been building up. But I've been on the I've been on the bad side of social media myself. The bullying. My kids have as well. My daughter has gone through the ringer a bit with it, and we've got other children that I know that are, they're being affected by what they're seeing and so on. So I'm not a huge fan of social, regardless of the fact that I live on social. But there we go. What do you do?
I think that's absolutely fine. And yeah, I would actually agree with all of those points. I think social media serves a purpose, but we've got to understand that, especially when a product is free, that we are actually the product. And,
I think
we need to understand that.
they're suddenly tightening in on us now. It's just starting to
Yeah.
happen. We've been saying for ages, social's free, blah blah blah. But the reach and everything on our posts is becoming less and less. You've got to try this trick. You've got to try that trick. Yeah, okay, it might get you another 10, 20, 30 views or whatever you. But the long and short is that you're going to have to start paying for it.
It's a pay to play platform now.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
I do events
Nearly
as
all of them.
well, and even my events on Eventbrite. Are now they've put up their subscription fee. Plus, are you having to pay for advertising if you want your events to get out there? And it's like,
Yeah.
just everything's becoming paid for now. But hey, look,
Yeah.
I guess in anything, we won't mind if there's the results. We will pay if there's the results. Now, if you did a
Yeah.
Facebook ad and suddenly your page went up 20 likes and this, that, and the other, then you're going to go, do you know what? That was worth the money. Well, they've tricked us again, haven't they? They've made us realise we need to pay money. I need to put some budget aside for Facebook ads, and I need to,
Yeah, and there is that argument, I guess. Once you start paying, they know that you're happy to pay for this to happen. So actually, your organic reach could even reduce even further to make you pay more. I mean, that's a slightly skeptical view. I don't, if anyone's listening to this, that's not advice, but I don't actually know all the algorithms from every different platform, but I can see that becoming.
But they change daily. They change daily. That's your problem.
Everything changes. Yeah. And actually, all the algorithms are different. We won't go into massively into social media, but the TikTok algorithm is actually very different from the Facebook algorithm with the For You page, and you can influence that almost instantly by liking and watching a couple of longer videos on whatever it is. Suddenly, like you say, tasks,
dogs on
like
skateboards.
Dogs on skateboards. Suddenly, that's it. They know that's their new favorite thing.
Suddenly, I've lost an hour. I'm never getting that back again.
Yeah. So I think social media is obviously it's a massive thing in people's lives and within the industries we work, but equally just understanding that it's not always real life. And actually, one of my takeaways from our conversation today, actually getting out there and speaking to people and seeing people, that's real life. And social can play a part, and it helps you record some of that, but it's not always the most healthy thing for you.
Well, social, for us as individuals, social plays the part of echoing what we do in our lives. So as a business owner, I can say, I'm out there again, I'm attending events and this, that, and the other. What's really important is that I document me being at those events. So it's a nice add-on, and people see that I'm out and about and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So comments like, where have you been, don't happen anymore, thankfully.
No. Cale, to finish off, give me one bit of advice you'd give to maybe someone who is starting off their career, whether that's in sales or working in sort of social media, or they're, maybe they're in one of those and actually they're employed and they want to take the step out. What advice would you give to someone?
Don't be afraid to do it. Give it a go. And I think probably in business and in personal, if you don't mind, is talk to other people. Don't do it yourself.
Yeah.
No. Business and my personal life have crossed over a lot in the last 6 years, because when you become a business owner, they do cross over. And having a business coach, having a network that you can talk to, a mate that you can chew the fat, about business or about life. If you're feeling tired, the strain, talk to people, because no one's going to understand what you're going through apart from people that are in the same environment. Just quickly, I remember very early on, I lost a client, and I remember saying to my pals, I've lost a client that's 250 quid down this month. Oh, well, don't worry, Cale, you'll replace that next month. And I was like, that's like your paycheck's just gone, 250 quid, just like that. Your boss has reduced your salary. Are you happy with that? Oh, no, I suppose not. Well, business, right. It's a different beast. But I think, you know what, one thing I've learned probably since very sadly separated with my ex-wife and things is that talk to people. Talk about your problems. Talk about what's going on. Don't suffer alone.
No, I think I can't remember, I'm going to always get this title wrong, but the show or the film, which is the boy, the horse, the mouse, and the whatever it is, and
Must have missed
there's
that
a
one.
couple of there's a couple of other animals. Anyway, the boy, the saying is that the boy turns to the horse and he says, "Horse, what's the bravest thing you've ever said?" And the horse says, "Help." Asking for help isn't giving up. Asking for help is refusing to give up. And yeah, that's what it is. Talking to other people, it isn't that you've given up or you've got it wrong. It's actually the bravest and the strongest thing you can do. Get some advice, and people will always share. And that's part of, we had that conversation right at the start. Why am I doing this podcast? It's actually to get that message out there that just talk to people.
Well, and realizing that we're all human and that we all make mistakes, and that actually probably a lot of us have got struggles that we don't even know of. I've said that I've been poorly and stuff, but I've not gone into detail, and you wouldn't know the half of it, and it's horrible. But we've all got things, and I think being a bit more patient with each other is something that I think we could all do really well from that. I can't believe you think that people are going to want to listen to me driveling on about this stuff, Matt, but there we go. We'll see.
We will see. Time will tell. We're posting on social media and see what comes up.
Can I boost it so more people see it, please?
Oh, Cale, it's been brilliant to talk to you today. Thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, mate. You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Balanced Ambition podcast. I genuinely hope the stories inspire you as much as they inspire me. If you found value in today's conversation, please share it with a friend. And remember, by subscribing, you won't miss an episode, and it would truly mean the world to me. Stay balanced, and I'll see you next time.